Whoop, whoop.
All right, you are tuning in live to Litcon Dallas. We have just had a phenomenal time. Mr. Lightfoot JR has been out here spreading words of knowledge, helping people understand, taking them into the fiction world, which is amazing. Because as we see, it's not so many people out here that have written fiction that we can actually say, I got a chance to meet and lay eyes on the author. Well, today, you guys are laying eyes on the actual author, Mr. Lightfoot. So tell us about your journey. How did you get into fiction? Because I know you've gone through a lot of things in your
Oh,
life.
absolutely. I started with my first book, mainly because I was having a conversation with I'm a high school teacher, having a conversation with the high school kids, and why don't you read? And they pretty much said, there's nothing out there for us. None of the people understand who we are. They don't understand, what we're looking like, and in the literary world, especially the fiction world, most of the protagonists or heroes are white. So I mean, that kind of started me thinking because I used to always write just to kind of get on a hard day's work. Just it was my way of just venting. So I focused my stuff on creating books where your heroes are black. Blood Gem, which is my first book, is set in Fort Worth, modern day Fort Worth. So I mean, that's part of my first book, and that's kind of what got me started on this journey.
Love that, love that. So with that, what made you say I'm gonna do fiction and not nonfiction?
Uh, Fiction is allows me to be creative. It allows me to be who I am. It allows me to create worlds and create characters that I can relate to, and journeys that I can make up. Whereas a lot of times nonfiction, you're stuck in what you have there. I want to make sure that I can bring something new.
Yes, I love that so much. And you made a good point when you said a lot of those characters they don't look like.
Right.
And so for helping people to be able to notice that, okay, there are things out there that look like us. What are you doing to really gain the exposure to help people realize, like, oh wait, there are fictions that people look like us.
Absolutely. With my second book, which is the third one, is right there. I've kind of went a different direction to where my book it's more of a Christian fantasy,
Okay.
and it's set right after right after Jesus' ascension into heaven.
Okay.
So with this, I'm able to tackle the issues of today, but yet bring it in from that perspective. Uh, I'm a big fantasy fan. Conan the Barbarian, Dungeons and Dragons, all that good stuff. I grew up with, and I wanted to bring that to this generation, and give those kids that love the fantasy world that option and that way of going about it. As what I've done so far, got some great reviews from some bookograms and on those people, and we're just trying to get it out there, the exposure out there, so people can see it. It's out there, and they don't have to go searching for it.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Now, this kind of almost reminds me of the Harry Potter books. So, what is that journey like as an author, writing books that are like so many pages? Like, is it tiring? How long does it take? Like, what is that process for someone else who's listening? So, you know what? I've been wanting to write a fiction book, but I just don't know how to get started. And I think it's going to take me ages.
It is quite. This one took me 2 years. Okay. Like I said, I write when I'm frustrated. I write when I have time. I have a full other job going on. So it's not like I'm 8 hours a day on the computer. It's not like that. But more importantly, I get lost. I get lost in my writing. So as I'm typing, as I'm going through it, I'm getting lost. I'm getting excited just with the characters. I'm bonding with the characters. I'm living the experience. That it is a thick book. Yes, it has a lot of pages. Um, but for me, it just flowed. It just flowed. And I never really looked at, oh, what page am I on? It was just, okay, where am I in on the story? I start with the kind of an overview outline to know where I'm going with the book. And then it just flows. And at the end, I look at it and I go, oops. It's a lot of words, buddy. But yeah, so I don't look to go, hey, I think a true fiction author, it just flows, it's just so natural.
Yes, I love that. And so many people now who are listening, they might say, you know what, now seeing you, that I can actually write a fiction book and I can do it. And so as a mental health therapist, I'm really big on the mindset.
Absolutely.
So what is it that you can share with our listeners to prepare their minds? Because this is not something you write to where you're on social media, you're in the drama, you're doing this, and you're going to bed at all times of the night, you're eating sugar and all these different things. What words would you give someone who really needs to get their mindset right to just enjoy life, or even start writing, or do something that they really need to do? Stop procrastinating.
Stop procrastinating. Get your thoughts together, get an outline. I'm gonna be honest with you, even though I've got 4 books out there published, I've written more than 4 books. Especially when I started, I didn't have an outline. I'm writing, I'm typing, I'm feeling the emotion, and then I get to a spot and I'm like, ooh, this is wrong. So the mindset's got to start with knowing where you want to go. And getting it down on paper, getting the outline on paper, so that, like I said, I don't write every day. I can't write every day because I have so much other stuff going on. So that when I get back to my writing, I'm looking at what I got, and I look at my outline. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, and I'm able to get back into that flow. So much easier. It's not like if you don't have an outline, you're looking at the words, you're going.
That's right.
So with me having that outline there, it allows me to pull away and come back to the story, and get into that mood, get into that feeling, get into that flow so much easier, so much quicker, to where, I can leave it, I can get caught up with something for weeks on end, come back and I'm still good. I'm still good. I get back in that flow so quickly.
I love that. I love that. So as we prepare to close, tell our listeners how can they purchase a copy of any of your books that are published, or any of your books, and then how can they really just be inspired by you? What are some words of encouragement?
My books are all available: Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes and Nobles. They're all there. If you want to get inspired, you want to figure out, what your find out what your passion is.
Right.
Where do you? Somebody asked me, if you could pick a point in history where you could live, where would it be? And that point, for me, I love the sword and sorcery. I love that. I love that genre. So for me, it was easy. That's why I feel most comfortable.
Right.
So if you want to write a book, it's got to feel comfortable.
That's right.
So find that time frame where you feel the most comfortable in, and then tell your story from there. I tackle 20-25 problems in 60 AD book. So it's like, oh, but I want to tackle this problem. You can tackle the problem.
Right.
Pick the genre pick the area, time frame you love the most, and then go from there, because that's where the magic is. And it flows and it's not forced. It just comes naturally because that's where you want to be. And you can hit all the points you need to hit. You can hit all the topics you want to hit. Find that area, find that time frame, whether it's in the 1920s, whether it's, in another country, find that time frame. Just lose yourself there and let it flow. Let it flow.
Yes. So as we close, do you have a favorite scripture or quote you love to read about listening to?
My favorite quote is, I don't know where I heard it from. It's something I tell my kids in my classroom, and it's just something I always say. It's sounds like a personal problem. I'm not the person. It's not my problem. Figure it out.
So, listeners, if you're listening today and you're like, I know I've been procrastinating. I know I need to take action. Take action. Do the things that you need to do. Get your mindset right. And then make sure you go and purchase a copy of Mr. JR Lightfoot's book. Thank you.
Thank you.